Okay, so here we are back and going into the demonstration now. So we'll be working from this model and I'll be showing you how to approach your homework. And let's dive right into it, because what I want to show you is it really can be simpler than we often want to make it. So I'm going to try and keep my approach quite simple here, and I'm going to do that by specifically following exactly what your homework assignment is. So I'm taking my construction drawing here because you recall we've already broken down this pose in a previous class. And so I'm taking this drawing and I am going to simply fill in everything that is in shadow. I'm going to fill it in quickly and boldly with black. This is not a rendering that is about what's in the shadows, and so we are taking those shadows down to 0, solid black. This is a drawing that is exclusively about what's happening in the light, and especially how those big forms are turning in the light. And I'm drawing on the Reeves lightweight paper. You're absolutely welcome to use newsprint here. This is assignment that I don't want you to feel too stressed about or feel like, well, I'm spent, $250 on this paper for one single sheet, and so I feel uptight. I don't want you to feel that way. So you're welcome to use a nice paper like this, but you're absolutely also welcome to simply do this assignment on newsprint. And I'm using compressed charcoal here. And as I always say, you are not obligated to use exactly my approach or exactly my technique, because job number 1 here are principles, and job number 2 is approach and technique. Those things are important but very secondary. But I am using a stick of compressed charcoal, the alpha color compressed charcoal that's on your materials list. That way it lets me quickly block in those big dark shadows and keep them dark. If I have some kind of a B weight pencil and I'm having to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with all kinds of tiny crosshatch strokes, that's going to drive me crazy trying to fill in all of this space with a little pencil. I just can't have that. There's not time for it, and I think the drawing would even look worse because of it. It would make the drawing look much more tentative and much more patchy. So I'm just using that stick of charcoal. I've broken off a piece of it that's about 1 inch long, and I'm filling in whatever's in shadow. I'm filling it in. And you might even say that I'm outlining the shadow with these strokes and then filling in the gap from there. But if it's not in direct light, it's going pure black. And I have to say, I know I've been talking about this in the lecture portion of this week, but I'm surprised how many people don't allow themselves the luxury of not having to worry about the shadow in this kind of a drawing for this particular assignment. And this is not a permanent drawing approach that I'm pitching to you. This is definitely an exercise. We're still on the front end of the class. We're doing exercises that are going to strengthen our drawings down the road. But I'm also going to show you how you can keep your drawings that we do down the road, how you can keep them simple and manageable. Because what we're going to do here, if you were to take this exercise and just take it a little bit further in the future, you would have a decent, in fact more than decent, a strong finished drawing. So we're still in building blocks period of the class here, all to the benefit of your future drawings. So do these exercises the way they're presented, knowing that that's exactly what they're for, to strengthen your future work. Because so many students, I don't know why, they somehow don't manage, or are afraid of, or don't believe that going black in the shadows will look right or will be helpful. I'm here to promise you that 15, 20 years of experience says that it will. And speaking of big simple approach, you see I'm just using my fingers, using my hand. Now, on week 5, I'm going to do a more traditional approach, just using charcoal pencils, something like you might be a little bit more expecting, something maybe even you'll be a little bit more comfortable with technique-wise. So I'm going to show you a variety of techniques over this course. A little less orthodox and a little more orthodox. And so when we do our full value light and shadow renderings on week 5, I'll be a little bit more pencil technique oriented, and some of you might appreciate that. But here, being direct is the name of the game. Being bold, keeping things masked and simple, that's what we are all about here. And so this technique lends itself to that. So instead of using a tissue, I'm just using my hand. It's more direct. I'm more comfortable with it. I have more control over what's happening. I put my side of my hand down and drag big tones across. I use the tip of my finger to be a little bit more fine-tuned. But by dragging those big tones across from the shadow into the halftone, I get the big, simple feel of turning form. And that's my goal here. Zero out the shadows into black, so that I can make sure that everything in light turns corners powerfully to create that illusion of three-dimensional potent life on the two-dimensional flat page. That's what we're all about here. That's what this exercise is about. Making that light just come to life geometrically and sculpturally. And one of the benefits you'll find to pushing the shadows so dark is that it lets your halftones that are in the light go very dark. And the more value range you have to do that, as we have discussed, if you allow yourself to have dark halftone lights because you've gone very dark in your shadows, it gives you so much more value range to turn those forms in the light. I do acknowledge in the photograph that we're referencing here, there's a lot of bounce light bouncing around in those shadows. There's bounce light coming up, and there's that cool atmospheric light coming down from above. A lot of light in those shadows, but everything in those lights are lighter than anything in the shadows there. So we're still maintaining the relationships that we're seeing in the photograph. We're just being much more graphic about it.